Hello, everybody. Reggie Tam here, and in just a moment, we're going to be looking at some hands I played at 20 on iPoker over the last yesterday evening. Actually, it was quite the emotional session. Lots of really crazy pots that hopefully you guys are going to enjoy. And this is going to be the format for my videos going forward because my life is going to take on some extra expenses in the next few months and ongoing for probably quite a long time because I'm pleased to announce that I'm going to become a grandfather for the first time. Number two son, as is expecting his first child with his girlfriend, and yeah, they're going to need some help, and I want to be in a position to be able to help them, which means I need to um, increase my income somewhat. Not by loads, but a little bit. So therefore, when they need that little bit of help, you know what it's like when you're young. You don't have as much money coming in as maybe you'd want to, and quite often the money runs out before the month does, and you're left struggling with a few days or a week before payday or whatever. I don't want my son to live that life. I don't want his girlfriend to live that life. I don't want my grandchild to live that life. So I just want to be in a position where I can just get them bits and bobs of shopping, get them just basically just get them bits and bobs of anything they need. Whether that's groceries, whether that's shit, we haven't got any nappies and we don't get paid until next Thursday or whatever. I don't want them to live under that pressure. I want to be able to just say, right, there you go. There's 50 quid, there's 100 quid, whatever. Go and get what you need. And, just do that on like an ongoing basis until such a time where they can stand on their own 2 feet properly. So, yeah, I'm going to have to be like playing more poker because I certainly don't want to go and get a job where I'm working for a company again and I have a boss and all of those things. I don't want that. I don't enjoy that. I never have, never will. But I'm in a position where I can just increase. I'm in control of my own income. Whether that's through poker playing, doing a little bit of coaching or whatever, that I can easily increase my income by a few £100 a month, and then if I need to give them a couple of £100 a month or whatever, then that's what I need to do. Um, Now I'm in a position to do that. It means playing more poker. I'm going to be trying to play an average 40 hours a week on top of the 12 hours a week care work I do. When I do my extra care work, during the holidays, I won't be able to play 40 hours per week, but I'll be getting more money for the care work, so it swings and roundabouts there. But yeah, I'm going to need to be playing in games where my win rate is its highest, where the games are consistently better. And speed poker is not that environment for either. So in the past, where I said, "Oh, I won't be playing this because of this," and then I've kind of gone back on it. I'm very, very motivated to just try and bang, just get in the games where you win, get in the games where you know the field, and just try and be a lot more consistent with what I'm doing. And I've actually got a real motivation for this now because if I can make an extra few hundred per month, then it's not going to make any difference to my life if I give chunks of that away. So yeah, congratulations to Lachlan and Jodie. Really, it was quite a surprise when they told me a few months back. It was quite the shock. Took me a short while to acclimatise to it. I was never negative. I was always like positive about it and supportive from the off, but it wasn't something that I was expecting. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, we've got them on the feet. They've got their own place now. They've made it nice. It's a nice little home. So we've got over the first hurdle of the expense of getting them in, getting deposits paid, buying bits and bobs, filling the cupboards up, filling the fridge up, etc. So now it's just a matter of helping them maintain a reasonable quality of life, as they tread the path to wherever it takes them. So, anyways, that's out the way. Let's crack on with some hands. This was an emotional session last night. There was all kinds of things. You'll see by the stats as we go through the hands that tables were good. There weren't too many regs knocking around, and there was a fair number of whoppers, and it was yeah, it was quite the session. So let's get into it. Here we have Ace King. We have a recreational player who has posted and then checked. We have another villain who's like over limped the button. He just never has a hand here. How can he have a hand? It's just it's 3 dead blinds in there. He's on the button. He's just limped. This guy hadn't limped. He'd posted. So it's not even like he's like, oh, I'm going to overlimp this hand because maybe he thinks this guy limped tight or whatever, even though he doesn't. This guy literally posted and he just limps the button. So he never has a hand. Literally never. Small blind just completes. Um, we make it 11x because there's dead money galore out there. And yeah, so I'm just going to use my 3-bet sizing here. There's like three, as far as I'm concerned, 3 bits of dead money there. No one's got a hand here. So the paid post calls. This guy surprised me by calling. I didn't expect him to call. When he did, I think it's pretty obvious that he probably just has like a small pocket pair, nothing much else, pretty much nothing else, almost exclusively like deuces, threes, fours, fives, maybe sixes, that type of thing, and maybe the occasional like really small suited connector, but never ever a hand of any substance whatsoever. So the flop comes down Queen Queen 9. I expect Villain to completely miss this board. There's 0% chance he's got anything on this board, in my opinion. I don't want to check though and have him just like be able to check back with pocket threes and get all the way to showdown without being put under any pressure. So we bet. He calls, which I think he would do with pretty much all his pairs at this point. Whether he should or not, different question. But whether people should do things they do is, it's microstakes poker, and I'm as guilty as anybody else. People don't do what they're supposed to do. Turns an 8 again. I don't think that's going to improve him at all. I don't think he's got Jack 10, for example. I think Jack 10 just tries to ISO the post. Even if he thought it was a limp, I think Jack 10 still tries to ISO. I don't think he's got pocket 8s. I still just think like we probably don't have the best hand here, but we definitely like are going to rep the strongest hands. I think when we bet again. I mean, if he's in there with like pocket 3s, pocket 4s, pocket 5s, etc., he's just going to have to fold. If he's got a hand like 6, 7, maybe he doesn't fold, but I mean the board's paid, so who knows? So, anyways, we bet €3.60. He calls again. I'm like, oh dear, I'm gonna have to either empty the clip here or just give up. And the river's a 5. I'm like, fuck, because now pocket 5s gets there, of course. 6, 7 gets there. And I wasn't sure what to do at this point. We left ourselves like a 3/4 pot shove if we want to take it. And normally, I think I wouldn't shove here very often. And I don't think we do a particularly good job of repping Queen X. What Queen X do we have? Ace Queen, King Queen suited. Maybe we have pocket 9s in this line, but that's about it. We don't rep much for value. But still, if we were to go all in here, it's still a difficult call. If he has just got the types of hands we were thinking he had pre, deuces, 3s, 4s, 6s, etc. Maybe he's got a hand like, I don't know, fucking what. What else could he have? I don't know, but he just didn't feel like he was like super strong. Felt like if we went check, we didn't win very often, but we could still make him fold. And this could be spew from me, because I decided, fuck it, I'm all in. I'm just going to continue repping this big hand. I didn't see how he could have like a really strong hand here. And if he wants to call me with like pocket 6s or whatever and be a hero, then good for him, I guess. I just lose a buy-in and we move on. So this felt a little bit spewy. Maybe it even is a bit spewy. Like turning Ace King into a bluff. We are trying to make someone fold pairs here. And trying to make people fold pairs, it's not always the best of ideas, is it? But I elected to go for it. Thankfully, our opponent folded quickly. Didn't even put me through the blender of taking his time. Didn't even go in the tank. So maybe my read was right. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he just had some like slightly weaker ace high. Maybe he's just like over limping. I had like ace 10 suited or something. Maybe he had like ace 10 diamonds. I don't know. But we won the pot and we were glad to do so. So moving on to the next hand. This is the first wild hand of the night. This player's stats here are now showing. This must be like all the hands have got on him. At the time of this hand, this was like 55-44, something like that. So I had a distinctly different impression of the guy than those stats make you think. So he had this like fishy guy opening under the gun, 43-13. This dude was playing like 55-44, 55-45, something like that. He just calls. He calls. He folds. So as you can see, these games are pretty juicy. I went for an enormous squeeze. I went for the 4-bet size because I just thought that if I just make this like 14 bigs here, 15 bigs, probably just getting called in every spot, and then just being left with the ace high. I just didn't like the spot very much. I'm happy to just take it down pre. I'm also happy to get it in pre if somebody wants to back raise shove. And I'm happy to play like a significantly reduced SPR if somebody calls. This might look like an overplay, but in these games, I promise you, this play, well, in my opinion, it's fine anyway. Other people might strongly disagree, but in my opinion, this is fine. So the original raiser folds. This dude could not call quick enough. Literally couldn't call any quicker. Is that right? Okay. We're going to need to hit here. And then this dude gets out of the way. Flop comes down 3-2-4, which on the face of it, I'm pretty happy about. I'd be a bit more concerned if it was in more like the mid card area. At least you have a good shot against his pairs. We might easily still have the best hand. And this guy, excuse me, this guy was like pretty aggro post flop. He was just like, if he was checked to, he was just betting and using big sizes quite frequently. And he didn't really fall to 3-bet c-bet as far as I could tell. So I wasn't sure how to proceed here, whether to go with just c-bet, call it off, but we still got fucking, what's that? How many big blinds? 125 bigs behind. Feels a bit punty to c-bet, call it off. Didn't know whether to check and call, check and raise, check and fold. I was thinking and thinking and thinking. I ended up just going with a check, with a plan to check raise, just check jam, because he was, big bet happy when checked to, or it seemed like it. Fair enough, it's a small sample, and he might just have been being smashed by the deck. So I went with a check, and he checks back. So at this point, I don't think he's got a pair. I think this guy would have absolutely, if he's in here with like pocket sevens or whatever, I think there's next to no chance that he checks this back. Just no chance. I just don't think he's going to do it. So I'm relatively comfortable with the best hand. Turn is an 8, which wasn't the most pleasing thing to see, because it is kind of a middly card type thing. He might have like an 8-7 suited, an 8-9 suited, etc. Who knows what he's got? I'm just ruling out the fact that he had pocket pairs on the flop because he didn't bet. I don't think he's improved to like a set of 8s or something like that. I felt like it was still probably an okay card. At this point, when he's gone call, and he hasn't bet the flop, I'm thinking he's more in the ace jack, ace queen, king queen, queen jack suited, jack 10 suited sort of area. And maybe we should just bet here, but it felt now like we've just got the best hand, and maybe this guy's just going to let us get to showdown because he hasn't bet the flop. So I don't think he had like a made hand on the flop. No real reason why this should change very much on the turn. We check. This time he bets the full pot, and he bet the full pot really quickly. I'm like, shit, has he got a 9-8 suited? That's like the only hand I thought you could really have for value at this point, like a 9-8 suited, 8-7 suited type hand. I could see him doing this with that, but does 7-8 suited, 8-9 suited really put fucking however many big blinds it was? I asked him to put 23 big blinds in pre. Is this guy now, just because I've checked twice, just potting his entire range? And I don't know. I didn't know what to think, but I just didn't feel like I wanted to fold my hand. So I did that, and I think that's pretty bad actually. I think it's pretty bad. I think if we're going to continue putting money in here, we should just go call. We don't get value here. I very much doubt we get him to fold a better hand. Yeah, if he is somehow like turns some equity with who knows fucking what. Yeah, he probably has to call it off now with a draw if he's decided to delay like float better to draw or something. But it's punted by me, it's shit. There's no excusing it. But I'm not gonna just not show the hands that are fucking butchered either. And this is an absolute butchering. I should probably just fold. Anyways, I didn't. He called immediately. River to 6. And he won with that, which is just like nonsense, obviously. But he had the best hand and he won. I mean, He ended up with these stats 38 to 89, which are not totally unreasonable. But he still just turned up with the King 4 suited. And he dragged a very big pot. And this was like towards the start of my session. I was like, fuck. That's not good. Because I don't play very well when I'm behind. I do okay. Quite often I get stuck and then get back. But I don't enjoy playing when I'm stuck. Who does? And I don't think playing when stuck brings out the best in me. But it was the start of the session, and we were going to have to play stuck for a while because tables were really good, and I wasn't. I wasn't in the mood to quit. It's just not appropriate to quit. I'm here. I'm made to make money. For want of a better way of putting it, I'm a semi-pro player. You can't just fucking quit when you get a little bit pissed off. You've got to just put your big boy pants on and crack on, haven't you? Which is what we did. So here we've got the King Queen under the gun. We open to 2.5x. We get a call out of a recreational player in the small blind, and this blue tag means it's just some like asshole who is like a reg but buys in short. I used this used to be my pro short stacker tag or my quote unquote pro short stacker tag. This guy isn't one of them. He's just some fucking asshole who buys in short and then just plays. Just fuck him. Anyway, we flop a pair and a nut flush draw, which is very exciting. Checks to us, and I think betting is entirely in order. Batting is entirely in order here. I also don't hate checking back. There's not many bad things that can happen. If we're already behind, then someone's not folding. If we're ahead, then we're relatively invulnerable. So I think we can go between betting and checking here. I actually rolled for this. I wanted to roll a bet, but I rolled a check, sadly. So that's what we did. We turned trips, and now we just got the board locked up. Villain here basically just put some shitty block bet out. This guy calls, he never has anything. Literally never has anything as like an ace or what have you. So maybe they both got an ace. If we're really lucky, maybe this guy's got like a queen 10 or something like that and just is sizing his bets inappropriately. So we raise it up to 2. He calls, and as expected, he gets out of the way. We river the flush. And now our villain sizes up to €3.40. Now we've got the nut flush, but the board is paired. And I think like a leak of mine in the past in these spots has just been, just call Reg. Just call. Not many words Santi can call with. The ace, the jack, and the queen are all out there. We need him to have the 10 of clubs specifically to bet. Blah, blah, blah. And I find reasons. I talk myself into giving reasons not to go all in here, or not to put my opponent all in. Like, well, the board's paired too. Maybe he has a baby full house. Maybe he's like, the monster under the bed syndrome that we all have now and again. But lately I've been getting much better at not doing that and just be like, fine, he can call here with just a random queen. Fair enough, there's not many queens left, but he's a fish. He can call with the queen. He's not folding a flush. If he's flopped the straight with the king 10, he's probably not folding that. Even though it's obvious all those hands are going to be beat when I do this. Oh, I just called. What am I talking about? Wow. I'm sure I fucking jammed there. Why have I misremembered that hand? I was convinced I shoved here and lost the maximum. Could we lose this hand, by the way? But I was convinced that I shoved and lost the maximum. Maybe it's another hand I'm thinking of. Yeah, that should just shove there. There's no excuse for this. I should have lost more money because, Bill had pocket jacks, and I should absolutely have lost more money there. Maybe that's why I marked it. I think there must be another hand similar to this coming up, because I was convinced I value shoved a river and got called by worse at some point during this session, and I presume this was the hand because I haven't looked back at any of them, but clearly not. That's a mistake by me. Maybe I tagged this one because it's a mistake, or because I think it's a mistake. Because I certainly haven't tagged it because it's a cooler. I don't bother with that shit. I don't just look at this cooler, fucking hell, I unlucky. It's not because of that. This has been tagged probably because I think I've made a mistake on the river by not jamming. And I think I have made a mistake on the river by not jamming. But fortunately, it was a mistake that worked out in our favour for once. On to the next one. We have the 10-6 offsuit. We are checking in the big blind versus the limp. We flop trips. check, check. Villain min bets. We go with the raise. He calls. Change to 3. Presuming we're going to barrel pretty big here. Could we even do over bets here? I think maybe a slight overplay doing the overbet. I would say we've got like the worst 10 we could have here, but we haven't because we're in the big blind, so we could absolutely have 10 deuce as well. Not sure how relevant it is that we got a bad 10 or not. Maybe it's a little bit relevant because if he does have a 10, obviously it's very likely it's going to be better than ours. But I don't expect people to slow play a 10 here. When we check raise, I don't expect them to slow play a 10 very often. So I think we probably just had the best hand. This player could easily have limped a hand like pocket aces, pocket kings, pocket queens. These things happen a lot. They shouldn't, but they do. We bet 2/3 pot. Villain calls. River's a 5. I guess we just want to be like trying to target all one pair hands here, like anything from like pocket sixes, pocket sevens, 8x, all the way through to pocket aces, which I think definitely feature a little bit in Fishy Villain's ranges. So I decided to just go 40% just to make sure we got the calls. I'm not sure I like this. I think maybe we could go bigger, especially if we think this guy is capable of having like jacks plus. I think this is too small. I think I'm trying to capture too much 8x pocket sevens etc. here as well. I think I shouldn't bother with that. I think I should just maybe target the stronger bluff catchers in his range. He raises to 5, and when he did this, I was like, dead. I am just so fucking dead here. So fucking dead. Like, what do we need to have here to win this pot? Jack 9, 9-7. Seems unlikely, doesn't it? A guy, he can get to the river with those hands, as played, because he still has equity, but do fish raise this size on the river versus check raise bet lines? Did he fuck? This is always value, and if it's value, we are fucked. But is this the sort of player who just thinks aces is still value here? Kings is still value here, especially when you see our small bet size. I don't know. I didn't like it. Every bone in my body wanted to fold, but we're just getting too good a price, I think, and we just flicked it in. I hated it. I just wanted to just fold straight away. And he had Jack 10, and the session continued to go down there. We're just losing every fucking pot imaginable route. It was not a fun start. The session was not going well. Let me tell you that for certain. And my mindset, albeit still better than most when these sessions are happening, it was starting to feel just a little bit challenged. Move on to this one with the pocket 9s. We have what looks like on the small sample side a loose aggressive fish. Min raising under the gun. We decided to just call here. I think versus later position, we would have 3-bet. We flop a small overpair. Check. I don't remember this hand at all, actually. Literally, so maybe the first hand I totally don't remember. Villain pots it. Whatever. We have a decision here whether to raise now or and play for stacks against a loose or someone who might be bad loose aggressive, or just try and like see how the hand develops. I elected to just call. Turns an 8, which does bring some additional equity against overpairs. We check. Villain bets full pot again. I think raising here at this point wouldn't be great, but in the second hand we check raise ace high versus a pot size bet in a much bigger pot. So shut the fuck up, Reds, you dickhead. Maybe raising here is completely fine, but I just think we got too much going. I just don't think we need to. We're not going to get anything to fold that we'd like to fold. And it's a good chance we still have the best hand, and if not, we maybe have the best draw. So we call again. We river a straight. Given this guy's gone like raise, pot, I'm not going to dunk into him. I'm just going to give him a chance to bet again. So we check. He bets full pot again. We're all in, of course, for his remaining €5. Maybe this is a hand where I thought I value all my stuff. I don't fucking know. It was an emotional session. I can't be expected to remember everything. Anyway, he folded. And we got a nice red line win. So this guy was clearly just at it the whole way, you would imagine. And that was one back for the fat lad. Moving on, we're playing three-handed at this point. We open. Aha! I do remember this one. This is one of my more regular opponents. I think he's reasonably solid, but he can be a little bit. He's active around steal and re-steal spots, and he can be a little bit punchy, a little bit spewy. So to bear that in mind. Like, I think we've got another hand coming up against him later. Bear that in mind. My read is that generally speaking, this guy is something of a nit. If you look at his like raised by position, it doesn't change very much. So he's one of the better eggs in the pool, but by no means does that mean I think he's good. He's just one of the better eggs in the pool. I still think he's bad or relative. Well, no, that's not fair. I don't think he's bad because he undoubtedly makes money in these games, but he's still a shit egg like all of us. And I, as much as I'd rather not have him at my tables because I'd rather have fish, he's not someone that we're see and I'm thinking, oh fuck, he's here. He's just there. He's just part of the furniture. He's a little bit spewy. He just makes us pay more rates sometimes for no good reason. But yeah, he's certainly not an intimidating player to play against. Anyway, he three bets. We four bet. He goes all in. We call. Yeah, not much to say about this one other than he had that. That I don't think. I mean, it depends where you get your ranges from. When I checked this after in GTO Wizard, in the setup I've got for GTO Wizard, this isn't even a three bet. It's just a pure call. So if it's not a three bet, it sure as fuck isn't a five bet jab either. But he might be getting his ranges from elsewhere. Maybe I'm being generous. Maybe this is like a total fucking punt. Felt like it was a total punt to me. I don't think this is a thing, but what do I know? Anyway, he won the pot, so what do I know and what does he fucking care? On to the next one. Two kings. This is more like it. This is a Reggie time type of fucking hand more. So we've got a loose passive-ish villain opening under the gun, playing 33-12. We've got an absolute whale who needs to be tagged, might I add. I probably missed a few tags while I've been doing this. May as well do it now while we're here. Well, we are missing tags, aren't we? Probably go back after this session and do this. Do it properly. So we have a loose passive villain opening middle position. We have a very, very loose passive player calling cut off. We just have a big squeeze here, and I think we there's no reason to go small here. We're up against two recreational players. I think like normally he'd probably want to go to like 13 bigs. I wouldn't be surprised if I go bigger. No, I do just go to 13 bigs. I would have been surprised to see me go bigger there. The original race that folds and the 65B pip as expected calls. No idea why this one's in here because this looks very boring. We've got an SPR of like 1, and yeah, this could. I don't know why this one's in. We just bet he goes on in. Yeah, sorry about this, boys. I don't know why this one's in there because it's dull as shit. And he had 8-7. Maybe this was just in to be like, what's this all about? I'm not sure about why that one's in. Maybe it's just in there to say, look, this is how the session went. This is how wild the gears were or whatever. I'm not sure. I apologise for that one. Not sure why it's made it in. But yeah, 8-7-0, 13 bigs pre, check raising the gut shot. I mean, you got to. This is the sort of service you do not get at speed poker tables. You don't get this shit at speed poker tables. So maybe that's why it's in. Maybe it's to encourage you guys away from the speed poker grind and to get into game selecting. Maybe that was it. I'm a bit charitable to myself. On to the next hand. The absolute whopper of the highest magnitude. Over a small sample as min raised under the gun, or middle position, sorry. This guy has called the button. This is the case saying from earlier, the short stacking guy who buys his short. He can literally never have a hand here. When somebody playing 78-67, albeit over a small sample, min raises and you're on the button, and you just call, you never have a real hand. So he's dead money as far as I'm concerned in this spot. We squeeze it up. The opener calls, of course, and he folds as expected. Um, so we've got an SPR of 1. We get the 557. So what to do here? Check fold seems really shit. Do we get ace high to fold by going all in? I mean, it's not just ace high. Do we just get to win the pot a lot by going all in here? I mean, yeah, sometimes he's going to have 10-9 off here, for example. He's going to fold that, but we probably don't mind him folding that because it's got some equity against us. And also, we don't want to check and have him just like jam with 10-9 off randomly and us then be put in a tough spot with our king high. So I elected just to jam here, if I remember correctly. But again, I'm not sure if this could be a bit punty. I don't think it is. Because, I mean, the guy's playing 78, 67. He's got loads of stuff that's missed here but has equity. So I think jamming here is probably fine, which is what we do. He calls. We turn what is probably the best hand. King 8, yeah. So, again, this is probably me just putting this hand in to try and extol the virtues of game selecting to you guys. It's really important. I mean, I've been working with maybe a handful of people lately. Most of them play speed poker, and I haven't started yet on working on them to get them to switch from speed poker to regular tables because there's other stuff to work on in their games. Probably the first thing I should say to them is just move, stop playing speed poker, just play reg tables on whatever site it is you're on. But that's an old habit that dies hard. I know that myself. It's really hard to quit speed poker once you play it. It's really hard to quit it. I've done it a million times. I've quit several times and always gone back to it. Probably will again at some point in the future, despite the fact I'm trying to make extra money for fucking nappies, etc. But yeah, it's really important. If you're like watching these videos, you're like a 5-0 or a 10-0 fast forward player, and you watch my content regularly, and you don't beat the rake, or you just about beat the rake, but don't make anything that allows you to hit the withdraw button very often. Just give speed give reg tables a try. I've said it a million times in videos, and know that I say it a million times again. But you really should give reg tables a try wherever you're playing at, whether that's on Poker Stars, whether that's on GG, Party. I'm not sure the reg table seems too good on Party. Triple Eight. There is a reg table scene. It's a bit shitty because there's an awful lot of people on there who like literally they'll play when there's a fish and they'll quit the second there isn't, which isn't a bad strategy. But when the pool isn't too big, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass because they won't even play on for a few minutes to try and let the seats fill with fresh fish. They'll just instantly quit the table. Now I'll quit tables if they go bad, but if there's me and two regs and there's two empty seats, I'll carry on playing until the table fills. And if the table fills and it fills badly, then I'll quit. If it fills and it's good, then it will. But you don't get that on Triple Eight. It seems to me the minute the minute the dead money leaves the table, the regs just sit out and it's shit and it's frustrating. But yeah, Poker Stars, iPoker, Unibet. There's lots of places where you can go and play reg tables, and every one of them, yeah, any reg table lobby is always going to be better than the speed poker lobby. But I could probably better address this while I'm here and rambling. If you've reached this stage of the video, you probably don't mind listening to me ramble anyway. I was watching Easter stream yesterday. He was so frustrated with the pool. It was a boring session. I mean, I like watching Easter because he's a fucking tilt monkey, isn't he? And well, no, he doesn't tilt in terms of like play badly, but he tilts emotionally, and he gives good value from a $3.99 a month in terms of like watching Rex get angry because it's funny, it's amusing, it's entertaining. And he was just so fed up with the pool, and we were having a brief chat about the state of the pool, and he was saying I was part of the problem. I was contributing to it, and he's right. I am. I play speed poker, and I play like 22% of hands. Like 22-17, 22-18, with like an 8% 3-bet, and that is nitty. That's tight. It's nitty. But compared to the fucking population, it isn't. That still puts me in like the top, probably 10% of like regs that VPIP. in terms of percentage. Not saying I'm the best 10% in the pool, but I'm probably in the at least in the top 20% of like VP PFR aggression. Of all those things, there's 80% of the players, of the regs in that pool that play weaker and tighter than that. And because I was saying, fucking, it's a shit game to play when the max VP for most regs is 22 and the max PFI is 14. He was like, nah, nah, nah. It's worse than that. A lot of them just have single figure PFRs, and he's got a far larger database on triplet than I've got for those pools. And he's probably just right. You're playing against a bunch of 18/9s and things like that. I mean, A, that's dull as shit. And B, it's like, where did your value come from there? You're playing against a bunch of people who just fold a lot. They're in there, they're limping around and whatever, they're mincing around, and they're not really wanting to play big pots in the slightest until they have a really big hand, and then they want to play a big pot. The rest of the time, they just want to like mince around like fucking Louis Spence in a fucking unicorn factory or whatever. And is there limp call, or they'll min raise, they'll call a 3-bet, try and flop a set. If they don't, then it's basically there's a lot of really weak type fannies in there, nut peddling, and it's hard to win big pots. But if you're like a relatively aggressive player, it's not that hard to like give value to these fucking little mincing nits. I don't know, if you like playing a relatively aggressive strategy, which involves quite a lot of c betting and double barreling, and you're up against assholes who up against fuck off. You're up against a bunch of assholes who you like limp call pocket tens, for example, and just want to check call down on like low boards and fuck. So they'll have hands that they quote unquote shouldn't have, and you end up bluffing into them a little bit more than is ideal or what have you. It's just really shit and frustrating. Yeah, it's possible to create a win rate. I've proved that over like hundreds of thousands of hands over like probably 10 years now. But it's just shit way to do it. Like you want to be in games like this where you've got people with 30 V pips, you've got people with 46 V pips, 78 V pips, even if it's only one player per table. If you've got one player per table that's losing at like um, 15 bigs to 100, at least that covers the rake bill for the fucking table, if nothing else. There's not enough players in speed poker, in my opinion, that are losing at a quick enough win rate to even cover the rake for like many mediocre players, and that's a big part of the problem. If you're like winning at 5 bigs to 100 pre-rake, then you're a losing player. You're probably losing anywhere between 3 and 6 bigs to 100. It's just really hard. There's just not enough dead money in those pools to go around. And a lot of the fish are just really tight fish. Like you get these 18/9 types, these 20/11 types. If they were playing regular tables, so they couldn't just fucking fast forward and wait for more interesting hands to play, these guys would be playing probably more like 29/12 or stuff like that. There's just these extra little bits in because they would get bored, so they would play more hands, etc. Um, if you have a player that's playing, say, 30/14 reg table, they might be playing an extra, they might play like 40% of hands because they get that bit more bored. They can't just auto fold the small blind, for example, where they play speed poker, bang, fold it, move on. In a reg table, they're forced to stay there. So they might just play a few more hands from the blinds than they would ordinarily play. They might play a few more hands from different positions, etc. Just the whole thing is like maybe I think reg tables in general are looser, and if you're table selecting well, they are significantly looser. And you can just get out there and find players that are basically covering the rake with the table. And they're like invisible antis, they juice pots up, they do a lot more limping with weak hands, they call raises with weak hands. There's just a lot less folding going on. So yeah, if you are like playing 5, 10 and L, even 25 and L speed poker, and you're not making it pay, do give reg tables a go. You won't regret it. Well, you might at first because you'll be bored out of your fucking brain, but you won't regret it. Anyway, that's the end of that little segue. Move on to the 8-7 of clubs. Open the button. We get min 3-bet by somebody playing 90/38. Did I mention that we should play reg tables sometimes? Did I mention that? I don't know if I mentioned that before, but yeah, try playing reg tables because you meet people like this sometimes. And then when you do meet someone like this, You get them until they quit or until they go broke. Fair enough, the guy hasn't got any money, but you still got a 90% VPIP. Anyways, we flop ourselves a beautiful two pairs. He checks. I'm all in because I think this guy just has pocket aces a lot, pocket kings, pocket queens, etc. And I think you see these guys do this all the time. They'll min three bet and then they'll check the flop. So I'm just all in and just like expect him to call with aces, kings, queens, jacks, tens, nines. Expect him to call with flush draws. Expect them to call maybe with just stuff like jack 10, maybe even jack queen, etc. It might look like an overplay, but against someone like this, trust me, I promise you it isn't. If they have any little piece of this board or even that back doors, this is going in at a very high frequency. He did indeed snap call. And he had the S9 just got there. Never mind. I don't care. Genuinely don't care about stuff like that. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. King, Queen of Diamonds now. We open middle position. We get three bet. This is the same guy who had the Ace 10 earlier. Like I say, he can be a little bit punty. Sometimes he can, he's a bit like Diana Spencer on a waltzer. He's kind of just spewing uncontrollably. So we call. I think like some people would make a mistake here and four bet against somebody who aggressively three bets. I think this hand would be a big mistake to four bet. We definitely need to have some light four bets out of position against this guy, but this hand's just too strong to want to like four bet fold. We flop ourselves a top pair and we say to this gentleman, right, okay, buddy, I'll see you at showdown. We check, he bets just over half pot, we call, turn complete brick, we check, he bets just over half pot again, we call, river to deuce, we check, he goes all in, and this is like he's gone like half pot shove here. He can absolutely have aces, ace king, pocket kings, pocket tens probably. Don't think having a queen in our hands ideal because I'd rather he had every combo of jack queen available to him. We'd rather he had not that I think anyone plays ace queen this way very often, but we'd rather he just had we'd rather not have a queen here. I'd rather have a fucking somehow have a worse king, which I couldn't have because it's a three bet pot out position. But I think having a queen isn't especially useful here. But I just have a no fold policy to this guy when we have a bluff catcher. So I didn't fold. And he did have ace queen. I'm not sure a little bit. I think free's obviously fine. Flop's obviously fine. I think turn's probably fine. At river, I just don't expect. I'm not sure what he's trying to get me to fold at this point. Yeah, I'm just not sure what he's trying to get me to fold. Maybe he just thinks I've got like stuff like pocket jacks that maybe have to fold. But to be honest with you, I probably consider folding pocket jacks on the turn. I don't like folding to this guy, but I think I'd probably fold jacks on the turn versus this line because we just lose to more hands when we got jacks than we do when we got king queen. I don't know, but I wasn't convinced by his river shove, but I could be wrong there. Maybe his river shove could be absolutely fine. So I'm not going to dig him out because I might dig him out and be wrong. Okay, we have pocket kings. We open a 68/7 guy. Comes along on the button. Because why not? Okay, we've got top set. This is likely going to be very dull again. This might be another one of those hands where what the fuck was villain doing? We see bet. Villain min raises. Okay then. Right. I genuinely don't remember this hand. I've flopped top set. This hand only happened probably 12 hours ago. I've already forgotten it. I think like bad reg logic here is just call, allow him to continue bluffing, etc. if he has any bluffs. I think my issue with that is that I don't think he's bluffing very often. I think he's probably value raising, or in his own head value raising, or if he is bluffing, it's going to be a combination draw, and he's not folding anyway. So I think I probably expect myself to three bet here, just because we're up against a fish and he's min raised, and how often do fish raise fold? It's not very often. Um, so I think in theory here we probably don't want to have a raise, but in practice versus min raise against someone playing these stats, I personally think it's fine. I do raise, and I raise pretty fucking big. Basically, I'm just trying to commit the guy. I guess he just calls. Now I remember this hand, because this is basically, I think, literally when this turn came, I was like, that is like the worst card in the deck. I was like, fucking. It's almost like asking Siri, like, Siri, what's the worst card in the deck? Or deliver the worst card in the deck. Bosh, there it comes. It's not the worst card, I guess, but it's a bad card. Like, obviously flush draws have just got there. I think like a lot of the time he's gonna have like a hand like 8-7 of clubs here. It doesn't have that anymore because 7 of clubs is out there. But you know, I think 7x features a little bit in his range, um, but not a lot. I wouldn't imagine like 6-7 probably wouldn't raise the flop. So I guess it only really improves 8-7, and even that it doesn't improve 8-7 enough. I'm not bothered. I'm not folding. It just means now we probably can't shove, or can we? I don't fucking know. But it certainly improves a decent part of his flop range in the line that he's taken. So I checked. He bet half pot. And I guess the question now is, do we just fucking ram it in his eye now? Or do we just like cry call and hope the board pairs? Or just call and then hope a fucking fourth club doesn't come? Or hope an 8 doesn't come? Or hope a 10 doesn't come? Or hope a 5 doesn't come? Yeah, I remember this hand now. It was quite messy because I was torn between jamming now, or because my concern was like if we jam now, it's going to be harder to get called by worse, although still not impossible. If we just call here, we can't call rivers on clubs, we can't call rivers on fives, probably we can't call rivers on tens. Um, this time messed me up because I genuinely didn't know the best way to proceed against this villain type. I don't know whether to just fuck it and ram it in his eye, or just call and then what? Just check river and win, or check call river and lose. I didn't know. It messed me up this hand a little bit. I ended up calling. River was a 10. I was like, I was just done with it now. Like, fuck off. We check. Villain checks back. And we beat the king 6. And yeah, I guess we can count ourselves lucky that villain bet the turn, when a lot of villains wouldn't. They'd just see that 7 of clubs and just pop control the fuck out of it. And then I guess we got lucky that he had a strong enough hand that he didn't need to bluff the river, because if he had bluffed the river, it would have worked. So we got lucky in a lot of ways. We got lucky to flop top set against 2 pairs. Then we got lucky that our opponent didn't turn his hand into a bluff on the river. Probably because he felt he didn't need to. He's still beating like hands like aces here. He's still beating hands like ace king, king queen, etc. So maybe he didn't feel he need to. Maybe he's just like his 68-7. Maybe didn't think anything. Who knows? But yeah, we got. It felt like we got a bit unlucky in that hand, but I think ultimately we got lucky because our opponent didn't put us to the test more. Because it's a test we likely would have failed. Second to last hand here. Pocket jacks. We open 2.5x. We get a call out of another super high BPIP guy. Did I say that big tables? Reg tables are where we need to be. I mean, this table's not great. We've got like this shitty short stack and guy and 2 regs, but the fact we just got this one guy makes it worth playing. We flop ourselves an overpair. We bet pretty large against someone playing these stats. That's completely fine. He min raises. So what to do here? Do we just raise again? I mean, again, conventional logic here will be called keep the bluffs in, etc. But we're playing a guy who's not conventional. He's playing 92/15. So do we just throw all out the window and just 3-bet? Because we get value from 10x, we get value from probably from 4x, we get value from draws. Or do we just call and then maybe think about pouncing later in the hand, or do we just call because we're worried we're beat? I mean, I'm not worried we're beat here. If we are, the guy's just getting our full stack. But I could again, this hand only happened 12 hours ago or so, maybe even less than that. But I don't remember. But I'd like to see myself raise here. I think. Nope, I didn't. Just goes to show how different. Like when you've got more time to think, and you're not at other tables pressing you for decisions, how different you would play. Because I think we should just three bet there. Yeah, I just think we should three bet. So interesting that I didn't find the three bet in game. He checks. We now go for a value bet, and he goes all in. So what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen? What is this all about? Are you calling versus a double check raise, including the turn shove? I'll tell you for nothing, I am, because I don't fall over pairs to 92/15s. I don't care how strong he's repping. I don't give a fuck how strong he's repping. I do not fold over pairs to 92/15s. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next millennium. Not happening. So I literally snapped it. Don't remember the outcome of this hand, but I do remember snapping. River is an ace, which probably isn't going to do as many favours. And he had the 5-9. So he check raised min raised the flop with the 5-9. So our three bet would have been a complete disaster on the flop. I guess that's chalk one up for the call, keep the bluffs in, boys. And then he turned a pair and decided to do like check shove, and yeah, we won a nice pot. Yeah, reg tables. Think about it. On to the last hand we're going to review in this session. This must be the same guy from last time, I imagine. Looks like it's the same table setup. He's limped. We have aces. Fuck him, 9x. The guy's just put the 9-5 in, hasn't he? He just goes all in, does he? No, he doesn't. He does that. He limp raises to 42 big blinds. We shove. He calls. Sorry, it's winning on quite a dull hand. And he had pocket threes, and we won again. So that session was quite wild last night. I think at one point, at my low point, I was down 3 stacks, maybe a bit more. Maybe, yeah, I think like, because there's loads of like spots where I was just like putting some pretty large three bets in and then just missing and missing and missing. Like we've seen a couple of hands where I've made some extra large three bets and they just completely break. Three bet ace king, two callers. There's fucking 40 blinds in the pot or more, and then check fold. And that was happening a lot. It was really quite frustrating. So I think I was stuck about 4 buy-ins at my low point. I ended up winning, I think, 1.5 buy-ins. So yeah, it was quite a swingy session. It's not super swingy. It's only like a 5 or 6 buy-in swing. But nevertheless, when you're in the heat of battle, it does feel more swingy than when you look back in the cold light of day. Like, oh, it wasn't that swingy, but it was swingy enough. But the games were fucking great, and I went back and played a session on the graveyard shift. I was going okay. Then I probably should have put this hand in. I misplayed a hand. There was a guy limped the cut off, a tight reg ISO to 4x from the small blind and from the button. I had pocket eights in the small blind, and I don't like calling from the small blind, but I didn't want to. This reg was too tight, so I didn't want to. In fact, fuck it, we'll pause the video and I'll pull a hand up. It'll be easier. So this is the hand. Now that guy limping. This guy's pretty tight. I saw the button to 4x. I didn't want to 3-bet him. I didn't want to just like reopen the betting. Didn't really want to force this guy at the pot. I'm happy to just try and flop a set against this guy. So we call. I don't love it, but I think it's probably okay. Then this guy, ISO to 17 bigs. He's a pretty big fucking nit. He plays a bit higher. He plays 50 now, but he's a nit. I mean, look at these like race first in stats 17, 18, 21, 23. It folds back to us. You've already seen what I've done now. And I rolled for jam or fold. I didn't want to call and play out of position. So I rolled for like, I could roll for something like 10% jams, 90% folds. Unfortunately for me, I hit a jam. Really hated doing it. I jammed and this guy just tanked for ages. I'm like, oh, we might fold, we might get him to fold like ace queen or something here, which would be ludicrous if he did, because I never have a hand when I do this. I'll never have a strong hand anyway. It's not like I'm ever trapping aces, kings, queens here. That's not happening. This is probably one of the best hands I'm going to do this with, I would imagine. And he went in the tank for fucking ages. He went into his time bank. He finally called. And we were just dead because he had pocket jacks with a hat. And quite why he was so much in it just shows what a nit he is, because like jacks is just going to be a snap caller. There's just no way I'm going to just have traps there almost ever. Yeah, so that was unfortunate. And it come about because of this guy. He limped 56/7. This guy's ISO'd, which is going to do with a relatively wide range, I guess, against a 56/7. And he's got a very high fold to 3-bet, so maybe I should just 3-bet my 8s and just take it down pre. But that wasn't asked about just take it down pre. I wanted to try and flop a set and maybe take all of anyone's money, basically. It's a very rare play from me. It's very, very rare I do it. But I decided to, and yeah, I got my fingers burned. These things happen. But yeah, I'm not going to complain too much. Still having a good month. The last few days have been a bit swingy. We've definitely dipped from our high point. But we're still, what is it now, 29th of November? Unless something disastrous happens, we're going to have a 4-figure month. And I'll take that every month. You give me a 4-figure month every month, and I'll show you a very happy bunny. I'll be making a decent income tax-free, and I'll be a happy, happy boy. So, yeah, we're not going to be looking at graphs and stuff because I want to keep my username on this site private, and I haven't figured out how to create an alias yet, or how to like change my name so it just comes up as Reg rather than my actual screen name. So yeah, we're not going to be showing anything until I can figure out how to create an alias of all my accounts. So then it just comes up as Reg rather than my screen name. We won't be looking at any graphs because I can't hide that shit. But yeah, just take it from me. It's been a good month, and hope you enjoyed this video. Well, it's been very long. Did not expect it to take an hour. I know it's not the highlight videos. I know quite a lot of you have been enjoying the highlight videos, but just tough shit. This is just what it's going to be. I'm not expecting these to get as many views as many of my other videos do, and I don't really care, to be honest. It's nice. It'd be nice if we get back to getting several hundred views per video, but if we don't, we don't. I couldn't give a shit. I've got more important things. This is just a hobby to me. It's just something I enjoy doing. It's a little bit therapeutic. It helps me review some of the hands I've played. It makes me think about some of my lines against certain opponents, so it helps me a little bit. And it's just something I enjoy doing. So fuck it. If they don't get many views, they don't get many views. I don't care. It's just how it's going to be going forward, because I've got booties, nappies, and milk formula to pay for, and I'm going to be able to pay for more of that playing these games than I am speed poker games. But we're going to leave it there for now. Have a good day, week, everybody. I'll be back doing these whenever I'm tagging hands all the time, either like funny ones that I've had today, like look at what this guy's turned up with. Some are interesting. Well, they've all got some like strategical merit, even the ones against whoppers. And if I wake up early enough in mornings, I'll do videos. My video making mornings are usually Monday through Thursday, so who knows? We might get 4 videos this week, we might not, but there's almost certainly going to be at least one more. Okie dokie, lads and lasses. We're going to leave it now. We're going to be up to the minute almost. Have a great week. Be lucky wherever you are. Fuck Snap Poker. Fuck Tories. And see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now.